Hello, everyone. We hope that you enjoyed that keynote presentation with Chris and Case, and welcome to your first breakout session of the day. We're going to be taking a deeper dive into the frontline disconnect for the hospitality and retail industries. Let's get started. We're going to start with housekeeping things first, but first, briefly introducing myself. My name is Sophia. I am on the marketing team here at Beekeeper, and I'm based in the Bay Area. I will be moderating this exciting session that we have planned for you today. It's my pleasure to introduce you to our speakers today. Andrada Paraschiv is our VP of Hospitality and is based out of Toronto. Andrada has been with Beekeeper for 5 years and is an expert on the needs of the frontline in the hospitality industry. Emily Hawkins is a senior product manager based out of Zurich. Emily has been with Beekeeper for 6 years and leads the team that develops employee services on the Beekeeper platform. As you can see, Beekeeper is a global company with coverage by our product and industry experts across North America, Europe, and beyond.
Thank you very much for the introduction. So to get going with the session, I'd like to take you through today's agenda. First off, we'll look at what's causing the disconnect between the frontline and the rest of the organization in the retail and hospitality space. After this, we'll discuss 3 areas where Beekeeper bridges this gap for the frontline. We'll show you how Beekeeper's frontline success system boosts guest and customer satisfaction, improves employee productivity, and increases employee retention. In each area, we'll share examples of how customers have achieved success, as well as a look into our product and our product vision for the future. And finally, we'll wrap up with Q&A. If at any stage during the session you have a question, please type it into the chat and we'll come to it at the end. It's a pretty small session, so I think it can be quite interactive. Now let's start by talking about this massive disconnect between management and frontline workers at their locations. And by the way, these frontline workers make up about 80% of your workforce. We heard earlier in the keynote, Case and Chris, that this is due to a variety of factors. And mainly it's because many retail and hospitality businesses stick to the way they've always been doing things, resulting in frontline workers remaining out of touch with the rest of the organization. This leads to frontline workers feeling unheard and unappreciated. And that makes it more likely for employees to experience burnout and leave, which in turn makes it harder for the ones staying. When we surveyed our own users, 90% of the respondents said that understaffing was their #1 stressor at work. And the flip side of the coin is that 34% said proper staffing is a key factor for workplace happiness. Bottom line, by sticking to the status quo, running a frontline business is much more difficult than it should be. And at Beekeeper, we hold a passionate belief that frontline workers are the engine that drives any retail and hospitality business. And the global pandemic reminded the world that frontline workers are essential to the economy and society. But less than 10%, so 10%, have access to all the software and tools that office workers like you and I get to use. In a time of changing consumer demand and habits, it's more important than ever that the frontline have the information and resources they need to do their jobs well, and also to feel engaged and a respected part of the business. And what we see sometimes in the market is that organizations try to bridge this frontline gap by extending technology they already use for their desk workers to their frontline teams. But this is a shortcut that leads to failure eventually, because office work is fundamentally different from frontline work. Your sales, retail associates, your housekeeping, restaurant staff, they experience a different reality when they come to work. Frontline staff are on their feet, interacting with customers all day long, often multilingual, and change jobs more frequently. So because frontliners are not served by today's IT solutions, they are stuck relying on traditional methods that haven't changed much in decades even. Teams still run their entire day by sharing printed out shift schedules, handover notes, assigning paper checklists for everyday tasks, and holding in-person pre-shift meetings to share urgent information. If this sounds like your organization, you are certainly not alone. And just to put this into perspective, these same workers in their private lives are using their phones every day to access and share information, communicate with friends, watch videos, manage their calendar, and much more. So it is pretty evident that at the end of 2022, it has become more challenging for organizations to keep the status quo and still be winning. Businesses face a choice: either invest in that 80% of their workforce or lose staff, customers, and ultimately their competitive edge. The good news is that on the flip side, by changing the way they operate and enabling their frontline workers, these organizations will see tremendous ROI. And we will spend the remainder of this session to show you examples of how Beekeeper can help better enable your frontline teams. And the first area we'll be looking at is boosting guest and customer satisfaction. Your employees on the front line are the ones interacting with your customers and are directly responsible for their experience. So it's crucial that your frontline employees have the training and information they need in order to provide the best experience possible. Our customers use Beekeeper to quickly share operational communication so that employees have the latest information in real time. And I would say in all other analog communication takes a long time to disseminate, and there's no feedback as to who has or has not received it. I personally used to work for Fairmont Hotels in the corporate office in charge of communication. And any big initiative communication that we would send out to the properties became like a black box. I had no indication of who got to hear it and when, if at all. But just to continue here on this page, number 2 there, it's employees also complete trainings through Beekeeper to learn about guest and customer service, the latest products and services, and ongoing promotions, which in turn lead to upsells and cross-sells. So with updates, trainings, documents, and product sheets all in the app, employees have everything they need at their fingertips. Now, as Emily and I will continue to talk about the guest and customer satisfaction, we would love to hear from you. What is your number 1 initiative when it comes to boosting satisfaction? So please feel free to type it in the chat. If there's something that you have planned for 2023 or you have tried to do in 2022, it'd be great to share some of your experience here. And as we keep going, I will talk about a real-life customer example. So Beekeeper helped Mandarin Oriental hospitality group with 12,000 employees across 36 hotels facilitate inter-hotel collaboration and communication, removing silos between departments and properties. Every staff member, from housekeeping to food and beverage, maintenance, spa and wellness, can access everything they need from the Beekeeper app and stay connected. Everything from restaurant menus, guest info, training announcements, HR documents, safety and health best practices can be easily accessed within seconds. And what's great about them too is that even the CEO posts monthly Ask Me Anything videos where he answers staff questions to bridge this gap between the head office and the property staff. And I will take a break for now, and I will let Emily demonstrate how Beekeeper can streamline operational communication. But before I pass it over to Emily, I would like to note that we will be showing you demos in line with what you saw in the keynote. So this is the direction we're moving into with some of it already being built and other things that we're still exploring. So
thank you,
Emily.
Andrada. Bring to life how customers can use Beekeeper to streamline operational communication, we're going to take a look at Rosa. Rosa is an employee at the guest store of a lifestyle resort. And as she starts her day and her shift, she can open up the Beekeeper app and she gets relevant content and updates that are important for her to stay connected with her team, with the shift that she's working in, and with the company as a whole. And here you can see a bit of what this might look like. And what's great is that Rosa doesn't need to rely on bulletin boards anymore, where things are usually out of date. The management is constantly trying to update them, maybe striking things through. Rosa gets tailored and relevant content that's important for her. So it's not just like Andrada said, that kind of black box where you throw something up, but really she gets things that she needs, that she finds interesting. And here you can see content doesn't just need to be text or boring updates. It can have content like videos, images, text formatting like bold and italics makes it easier to read and understand. So this is something that Rosa really likes, that she can easily start her day, stay connected. And since she is just starting her shift, she's going to click into the handover. So here, Rosa can easily see what happened in the shift before hers. This is super nice because before, even with the daily huddles, sometimes things got lost. And then it's a bit awkward if somebody comes in and they say, hey, in the last shift, I asked about this product. They said they would check on it. And what's the status here, right? With this, Rosa always knows what's open, what's in progress, what's important for her to offer the best guest experience here. And as she's doing that, you can see that Rosa was mentioned in a message. So now Rosa's in her group chat for the morning shift at the store. This is super nice for Rosa to be able to easily communicate with other people in her shift about things that come up. Hey, can somebody grab this from the back room? Questions that people might have. Also just recognizing each other during the day for good work. And here you can see that Rosa was mentioned in a message by Jen, letting her know that she's going to be in charge of doing inventory today at the store. For Rosa, this is no surprise because as we saw in the handover post, the former shift didn't have time to do the inventory. So Rosa says, sure, no problem. But in actuality, it's been quite a while since Rosa did inventory, and she's not 100% sure anymore what exactly that entails. But not to fret, Rosa can easily look up what she needs to do for inventory. So here in her toolbox, Rosa can access documents. This can be broken down into relevant folders, for example, HR policies or employee handbook, but also operational information that she might need during her job. So here she might click into the guest store SOPs folder, and she can access things, for example, like her inventory procedure, but also other relevant content for her. And again, this could be a PDF. It could also be a video, an image, whatever format really works for her and the team. So that's a little bit around streamlining operational communication. I will pass back now to Andrada.
Thank you, Emily. I will now talk about a customer story that highlights better product training. Dufry is a Swiss-based travel retailer with 36,000 employees working in over 65 countries. And actually, I saw Charlotte here. I know she's our head of customer success for North America, and she worked very closely with their US division. So this was just, parenthesis. They had to train employees on new product information and guest interaction procedures. And before Beekeeper, they had to leave the shop floor and go to the back meeting rooms to attend in-person trainings, which took a lot of time and effort. And they probably missed the people that were not working that day. With Beekeeper, they streamlined learning and development and standardized trainings across different stores. They're also able to quiz employees using surveys to ensure they actually retained the knowledge after trainings. And now back to Emily, who will show us a few ideas on how Beekeeper can improve training.
Perfect. Okay, so back to Rosa. During the day, Rosa is updated by her store manager about a new product that they're offering. As you can imagine, at a lifestyle resort, people are quite healthy, and yoga mats is something that her and her store colleagues have been hearing about a lot. So she's excited to see that they're now offering this. And here in this post, the store manager, James, is able to share not only visuals, but also the most important information about yoga mats so that Rosa and the rest of the team are comfortable talking to guests about what yoga mat they're buying and answering questions that come up. Here you can see also that the store manager is able to keep this quite short and easy to read, but also to link to more in-depth information. But of course, it's more important that the team members are actually understanding this and retaining it, not just seeing this post. So her store manager also shares a quick quiz. Now that Rosa's read through the information, she can easily go here and show that she's actually retained this information. How thick are the yoga mats? I think it was 5 millimeters. So this is a little bit about how product training can happen in Beekeeper. You can use things like that post we saw, also campaigns, and then use quizzes and chats to really check the knowledge of the team and see where you might need to do a bit more training.
Thank you, Emily. Yes, I would like to do yoga at Rosa's resort as well. But moving on with the second area that we will cover here is improving employee productivity. Analog processes in the status quo slow down productivity and result in employees sometimes spending more time doing busy work than their actual work. Paper checklists and task lists, shift schedules, and HR forms like PTO requests cannot be updated in real time and create more work for managers and HR. Our customers use Beekeeper to digitize paper and automate manual processes that frontline employees use to complete their work throughout the day. As we continue to talk about employee productivity, I would like to ask you again to share with everyone in the chat, what is your number one initiative when it comes to improving employee productivity? Don't be shy. I think it's an opportunity that we can learn from each other. Now, the next customer example that we chose here to illustrate operational safety and productivity, and we used Foodstuffs, a New Zealand grocery retailer with 24,000 employees across 330 stores. Foodstuffs has a wide array of digital forms for various checklists and safety procedures. Before Beekeeper, it would take 2 to 3 days for staff to complete the forms, and then 8 hours per week, for someone to process those paper forms. Now it is all digital, so team members submit forms automatically in a matter of minutes, and forms are completed and processed through Beekeeper in a matter of minutes. And back to Emily, who will now show you some examples of how Beekeeper automates manual and paper processes.
Perfect. So Rosa, if you recall, was assigned to do the inventory at the store today. And here you can see what this might look like for a store member like Rosa. There are a number of tasks that are available and assigned either to Rosa directly, which you can see here, or that might be available for her shift to pick up. And what's nice here is that this keeps it very clear and accountable, both for Rosa, her colleagues at the store, and also her store manager, to see who's accountable. Is this blocked? How can people support each other? And when you click into this task, you can see relevant information about this. And here as well, a number of subtasks which help guide Rosa as she's going through the inventory. This is a super easy interface that can also be translated to her preferred language. And she can go through and check these off as she does them, leaving a clear record as well for the future. But unfortunately, as Rosa is going through the inventory, she moves a big box, as happens, and it cuts her arm a little bit. The store policy is that she would fill out an incident form, which used to be a bit of a chore because she would have to go find her manager, find that paper form, fill it out, get it signed, file it, and so on. But now with Beekeeper, she can easily access all of the forms that she might need during the day. And here, this is as simple as opening this up, filling out the relevant information. This can all be configured by her store manager, what information they want to capture, what's required or not. And easy as that, she can submit this, which can then be routed to her store manager to keep track of. And before the box fell on her, she did notice that they were out of some stock. And since she's here, she can easily let her manager know what they need to order instead of keeping it on the back of the brain, maybe forgetting about it until the next time somebody does inventory. So that's a bit around how Rosa is made more productive and has an easier time doing her job with Beekeeper.
Thank you, Emily. We will now use another retail example to highlight the benefits of having a one-stop shop for everything a field employee needs. Wireless Vision is a US telecommunications retailer with around 4,000 employees. They use Beekeeper as a consolidated single connection tool for all their employees. Now, prior to Beekeeper, access to information and tools was a bit unstructured and sometimes chaotic. Now employees can access everything from HR profiles, shift schedules, payslip, business intelligence, job boards, and more from one place. And once again, back to Emily, who will now illustrate how Beekeeper can be a one-stop shop for frontline employees.
Exactly. This is one of the things that comes up most frequently, and it's something that Rosa really loves about working in this job. She no longer needs to have a bunch of apps downloaded for work, and she also doesn't need to remember all of the systems they're using and her different credentials. So for Rosa, when she does need to do something, for example, take some time off, she can just go into her Beekeeper app and accesses her toolbox here. In her toolbox, she has a lot of helpful options, but we're going to look at this shortcuts area. So Rosa has been putting in a lot of work, and she wants to go on a small road trip with her friend for a birthday celebration. Instead of needing to go find her manager or try to figure out which system to do this, she accesses everything through Beekeeper. It's a bit like her metaphorical front door to everything that she needs. But you can see here other things that we see customers doing. So they could put, for example, the menu at the resort. They could share information about their referral program or wellness benefits that they might offer to employees. So anything that Rosa might want to access can easily be found here. And oftentimes it's as easy as clicking on this and being authenticated in directly. So she doesn't need to remember all of those passwords. This makes her experience as an employee super simple and easy, and make sure that also content like the referral program, like her benefits, are very discoverable and accessible.
Okay, and now we are moving to the third area and last, where we'll cover, I think you can go one slide back. Yes, we are talking about increasing employee retention. This has always been a sore point for hospitality and retail, and now the challenge has reached a whole new level. While you are filling open vacancies, current employees are left with larger workload and stress, and as a result are less satisfied and engaged. And after spending the time and money to hire new employees, you then have to onboard and train them, which means even more tasks added onto the managers. Not ideal, to say the least. So how can you achieve better employee retention? A new employee's onboarding process is crucial. A bad onboarding experience usually leads to early attrition, while a great one sets employees up to be engaged and productive. Number two, building a culture of recognition is also important. Beekeeper makes it easy to publicly acknowledge colleagues and foster team camaraderie. And three, it's also essential to check in with employees periodically about their job satisfaction. Addressing employee concerns early prevents them from becoming disengaged and leaving. And we will use the example of Resort Tour Las Vegas to illustrate how our customers leverage Beekeeper to onboard and train their employees. Resort Tour Las Vegas is the latest addition to the Las Vegas Strip and is the largest Hilton property in the Western Hemisphere. It has 5,000 employees across one casino, 3 hotels, and more than 40 restaurants and bars. So it's a massive resort. They opened in 2021 in the middle of the pandemic and needed to onboard and train all of their employees quickly in time for opening. By doing paperless onboarding and training in Beekeeper, they successfully prepared all 5,000 employees in a matter of weeks instead of months, which gave them a huge competitive advantage in the crowded Las Vegas market. And I will pass it over to Emily now to give you a taste of new employee onboarding in Beekeeper.
Thanks, Andrada. So in case you're tired of Rosa's story, we'll look at Jeremiah, who is a newly hired employee. And for him, his onboarding experience is super clear, super simple. And for his managers and leaders, they appreciate it because it's very standardized. So when he joins the company, you can see that he's automatically added to a stream all around onboarding. And here, this is filled with content that's important for new hires to learn about the company culture, the team that they're working in. And you can see, for example, here, a welcome message from the CEO. Again, all of this translatable and very much tailored. Jeremiah also receives a welcoming campaign. This is automatically triggered by Jeremiah joining the company. And the goal of it is to make sure that he understands what to expect during the onboarding process. So here you can see he gets an overview of what's going to be happening, and he is guided to his onboarding tasks. These tasks are also automatically created. And what's great about this is that you can set up onboarding tests to be created that are relevant to the company onboarding. For example, reading the employee handbook or the health and safety policy. And you can also set up that as time goes on in the onboarding process, that Jeremiah or other new employees get more role-specific, department-specific onboarding content. And for Jeremiah, this is super easy. Again, this all comes when he needs it, so when it's relevant to him. He can click into these, watch videos, read documents, and when he's done, he can click through these, but keeps this overview here at the bottom. And his manager can also keep track of where Jeremiah is in the process and step in if there's any questions. But of course, not everything can be addressed during onboarding. There's always going to be questions that come up. And for that, Jeremiah's store uses a FAQ chatbot, the Bellbot, if you will. And here Jeremiah can ask questions, for example, what's the lost and found policy? And this chatbot does fuzzy matching. So it will look for similar questions in their database and then answer the best option so that Jeremiah is empowered and enabled with the information that he needs.
Okay, as you can see, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a timer that says 2 minutes. It should have been set up for an hour. It was set up for 45 minutes, this entire session. So we don't know what happens after 2 minutes. I know that our administrators are trying to prolong this session, so we may have times for questions or not. But in the meantime, let's just skip this and go to conclusion. Let's conclude. We hope you have found it helpful seeing how Beekeeper's Frontline Success System helps solve the frontline disconnect you may be experiencing in your retail or hospitality organization. And we are helping solve the disconnect for over 1,000 leading retail, hospitality, and other frontline first customers. And by the way, I would like to say hello and thank all the customers that I see in the session today. And if you're not part of a Beekeeper family yet, we would definitely love to welcome you.
Thank you, Andrada and Emily, for that great glimpse into what Beekeeper can do today and in the future. So it looks like we are running out of time, so I'll just wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.